Hello, Jarvis. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
Well, officially welcome to Metal Chaos.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Let me start right away because I have a lot of questions for you, man.
What, you need more t-shirts or what?
Well, now that you brought it up, man, you made me... You brought tears to my eyes, man, that day. Don't laugh. It's not...
Entered the contest, man. You won fair and square. Out of like 3,500 entries, it was you, man. So you got the mother load. What did we send you, like 20 t-shirts or something?
Oh, my goodness. I can't come... Jeez, man. And I for a moment, I said, did Jarvis confuse me with someone else?
I was like, man, I hope we get some press out of these guys now. Jesus.
You can count on us regardless t-shirts or not.
Okay, cool.
All right. We appreciate the music and not the t-shirts.
No, I know, but I thought that was funny. It's like, yeah, we did do that was the biggest giveaway we've ever done. One of everything we have in the merch store. And it's like, there you go.
Oh my goodness. Anyways, I'm glad that you brought this up.
Yeah.
So, at what point did you decide to make an Outsider concept album?
Well, our first full-length album, Curse of the Damned, was supposed to be a concept album. We had a friend of ours who wrote a comic book called Blood Sacrifice, and we were kind of trying to develop the story with him. And he helped us with the cover art too, which had to do with that story. And then we did the Screams in the Night song and Curse of the Damned. And it just slowly got off the rails. We were kind of writing just random songs. And so that was a kind of a poor attempt at a concept album. So we called that basically the soundtrack of the story of Blood Sacrifice, not a concept album. On Darkness Remains, we tried again. We're like, okay, let's make a full concept album. There's 3 songs on that album: Welcome to the Night, Life on the Run, and the title track, Darkness Remains. Tracks 1, 5, and 10 that are a cohesive story, but they're not really back-to-back, so they're not a trilogy. It's not a full concept album. We failed once again. I mean, I love those 2 albums, but that's the truth. We've been trying to do this since we started. This time around, when the pandemic hit, and we knew that we were not going to be touring for a long time, we said, we have time now. We have actual time to sit down and write. So let's give this a real attempt, and let's not stop until we're finished and it's good. So I've written a few movie scripts in the past. That's kind of my passion outside of music.
Really?
And yeah. And I had an idea for a script and for a story that I thought would be really cool along the Night Demon mythos, you know? And so I took an attempt at this during the pandemic. It took a very long time. It was really hard. But we were already starting to write some music based on the theme of it. And once I finished the story and it was good, and I had a kind of a final draft, I finished it in a script version. We broke it down into 8 chapters and did a kind of synopsis on it and said, okay, let's take this story and let's create some music for this, you know? So that's how it all came down.
And I'm sure you're talking about romantic stories, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, it's not as horror as you think it would be, you know? Like, I think it's our story is pretty dramatic. The horror elements are underlying. It's more science fiction, drama, you know.
Well, hold on. Lovecraft did do almost sci-fi without being sci-fi, if you know what I mean. He was talking about the unknown terror, and that's about it.
Exactly. But in Lovecraft stuff, you know, he had a beautiful way of writing where the fact that it was an unknown terror, he never actually fully described what it is that would make somebody mad. Like, yes. What would somebody actually see? So even when you see all the Lovecraft fan art and all this stuff of the Cthulhu mythos and just all these creatures, right? That's still left up to the reader's imagination. It's never described. And I always thought that was cool. And one way that you can tie Night Demon directly to Lovecraft is there's something that we've always done in our album covers
Mm-hmm.
and with our artwork, for singles and for sometimes for t-shirts and for song artwork, is the one thing that we've always done, which Lovecraft did, is we have created fictitious stories based on actual geographical places that are in our 3D world. So, like if you look at the Darkness Remains album cover, the building on there is actually City Hall in Ventura, California, that we grew up around. So we created a story about that. And the statue on that album cover of Rocky, our mascot, there's actually a statue that's been there for 100 years in front of that building of Father Sarah, the guy who came in with the missionaries and founded the town, you know? So we've always done that. And this story is exactly the same. If you look at the album cover of Outsider, and this entire script that I wrote, it's based on a physical place in Ireland that my girlfriend took me to. She drove me up this abandoned road in the middle of nowhere, and we found a abandoned church with a graveyard attached to it.
Oof.
It was very old, and it overlooked the sea. And we kept visiting this place over and over again. And I just one day thought, man, what would happen if somebody lived here, you know? And what would happen if there was like a green mist surrounding this place, kind of like the Northern Lights or something. And like it was a supernatural energy where, like, you know, anybody that left was never heard from again and nobody ever came in. And what if somebody here decided to leave? What would happen to them, you know? And that's how the whole story was born. But what I love about it is it's based on a real place that you can actually go and visit right now, you know? And I think
Do I want to?
Well, look, I don't know. I mean, it depends, but I'm just saying, like, I like the fact that, you know, we could think of anything in our imagination and bring it into reality. But the fact that we have found things that are already in our reality and then twisted it within our imagination and locked it into the story of the band, I think it makes it much more interesting. Even with our mascots and stuff, they have a backstory, you know? All my favorite bands' mascots, they don't have that. They're just there, you know?
Yes.
We want to give our music a more of an interesting twist, you know? And there's so much more creativity that goes behind artwork and themes than just lyrics, you know?
Oh, yeah, of course. And I had already prepared a question for you, how the story or the lyrics connect to the artwork and what kind of input did you give? But I think you answered this question already.
Well, let me tell you this. There's one difference here that I want to be clear about. I've listened to a lot of concept albums. Some are good, but most I don't care for too much because the lyric writing is bad. It's too literal. And I know why they do this. They do this so you can try and understand the story, right? But I never understand the story anyway. And I have to go like online and forums and go, hey, I think this album is about this. And then somebody will say, no, I think it's about this, right? So what we've done with this album is if you get the physical copy on vinyl, CD, or cassette, we have written the synopsis of the entire storyline in here that goes track by track. Like, here's what's happening in the story during this song. Then we've also additionally written the lyrics, okay? So when we wrote the lyrics, we wanted the lyrics to be metaphorical because the storyline is just for the fans. It's not for the casual listener. We don't want somebody who just hears one song to come in and go, I'm lost, I don't know what's going on, you know? So the lyrics are very metaphorical, and anybody can relate these lyrics to anything in their lives, right? It doesn't have to be about the story if you don't want it to be. But we wanted to make sure that we told the story very clearly for anybody who wants to know it, so there's no confusion. And if you don't care about the story, you don't need it, you know?
Well, on the other hand, everybody can take whatever from a story. It doesn't have to be clear-cutted for everyone, right? It's just like the movies.
Right.
You have an ending, and then you go online to see ending explained to see what the hell happened.
Right, but at least movies have a narrative.
Yes,
where
true.
Where like the filmmaker can control what they want the audience to see. In a song, to write good lyrics and good melodies, like, you know, sometimes like certain vowels sound better or rhyme better, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's a totally different art form. And in movies, you could put a subtitle and just say, here's the year, here's the town, here's where it is, right?
And you're done. Yes.
And the character can say, you have all this time to build up characters and go, here's who they are, here's what they like, here's where they came from, here's what happened in their past. In a song, you just can't, you don't have that time, you know?
No.
So we wanted to make sure, because look, I heard some concept albums that are like, the music kicks ass, and then the guy starts singing, and it's like, and now he went to the store, and he met somebody, and he spit in his face, and he got into a fight. Yeah, it's like, that's when you, instead of writing great lyrics in a song, which is like, you know, that could be like, Journey to the Place, where blood was shed in my face. You know, it's like, you want to make it more artistic like that, you know?
So I'm glad that you bring more attention to the lyrics. Although I'm sad to say that nowadays I think the lyrics have gone in the back. Everybody wants, and the way people listen to music, right? Everybody wants a good hook, a catchy song, and that's all. No one really pays attention to the lyrics, and maybe this is why some concept albums sound bad, lyric-wise, because they sell a package, and they claim to be a concept. So they have to write something.
Exactly. And my theory is that if a band's not ever telling you what, if they're saying it's a concept record, but they're not telling you the whole story, it means it's not a good story. Because I've written a lot of stories, trust me, and it's hard. It's fucking hard. I mean, there ends up being a lot of holes in it, man, and it has to make sense. Usually when you start, you're like, you know how you want it to begin and you know how you want it to end. So when you start filling it out, if you develop good characters, the characters start telling you what's going to happen because you know what they're going to do now. It changes your ending that you were attached to, and you have to throw it away. And most people don't do that. They go, no, I'm attached to this idea, so this has to happen. And that's why the movie doesn't make sense. You know, You're like, what the fuck? I invested all this time. It was going in this direction. And now it's like, now this happens? Come on, you know? And it's like the director's going, oh, I just want to make people think. No, you don't. You couldn't write something good enough. You know, like M. Night Shyamalan, his early movies were great. Like, they made you think, and then they had the ultimate twist. And you said, oh my God, I did not see... Here, a great story is this, okay? Is when you say, I did not see that coming, but it couldn't have been any other way.
I agree. And for Night Shyamalan, recently, I think he's writing more scripts just for the sake of doing some sort of a twist. And his story gets lost at some point.
Man, his last few movies were garbage. Like, I haven't seen this newest one about, like, you know, they have to kill somebody in this cabin or the world will end or something. Like, but I think, it's, you know, I guess it's like bands too, right? Like, you know, the earlier work, the innocent work is great. When the bands are innovative, right? And they're doing stuff differently and they don't care what people think. There's no pressure, right? But once you become known for something, you have to keep upping your game and, like, I don't know. It's difficult.
Yeah, and then you bring also producers to write music, and then you don't even know if this band you started listening back in the mid-'80s is still the same. But that's
of course, man.
That's a different can of worms. Let's not open that too, Jarvis. So that means you mentioned the 8 chapters, and that actually makes sense why you have the last day as a bonus for the CD, right? You don't have it in the vinyl.
No, it's a way for the record company to sell a dying format.
Oh.
You know, I mean, let's be honest, because it's like, you know, the hardcore fan is going to want that song, so they're going to buy the CD and the vinyl, you know? So, but it doesn't belong on the record. It's not part of it. You know?
Got it.
Yeah.
And speaking...
If it is the last track and it's called The Last Day, then I guess it makes some sense, right? You know?
Yeah, I was trying to make a connection after the Wrath, but I could not. Speaking of,
Right.
the last two songs, first of all, Awake, can we claim this as the first Night Demon power ballad?
Well, if you listen to the title track, Darkness Remains, off of our last album, I think that would qualify as the most legitimate first power ballad.
Okay.
But this one, it's kind of on the heels of that. And it's you know, we'll see. But it's the perfect song in the perfect spot to bridge the album for the big finale, you know?
Yes.
It needed to go down in order to go up.
And for this song, man, you gave me Blaze Bayley chills when with Iron Maiden sprinkled on top.
Yeah, thank you. That's very cool.
And this song, as you said, leads to the Wrath, right? That I think has to be the longest Night Demon track.
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah, we're a band that has short songs traditionally, you know, but you know, this song, it's not long to be long. It takes you on a crazy journey. Mm-hmm. It does not repeat itself, and it needed to be that long to tell the story, you know.
And I have to say it for people to listen that in order to notice everything in that song, you have to start listening with headphones. You have some clean guitars there, some subtle keyboards, and I'm sure I have missed a lot.
Well, yeah, the more you listen to it, the more stuff you're gonna hear. One of the things that we did in this song that you'll notice if you listen again is, it's kind of a thing I've never seen any band do, but I had the idea to do it, is we tune down the top string when it gets to the slow part. We tune it down in real time. The guitar and bass have to do it together, so we don't stop the song. And when the song ramps up to the fast part, we tune it up again. So we go from E to D and then back from D to E.
What?
So, yeah, it's fucking crazy. And we had to practice it a lot because we recorded the album live. So, you know, there was many times we got to that part, you know, where I was like, holy fuck, like, I'm out of tune. I can't, you know, you only have a quick time to do it. But take a listen again. You'll hear it. And it's a thing that we've had to practice a lot because we're going to have to play this song live. And if you bend your string, if you tune the tuning key out of tune, I mean, you're done. You know, the song doesn't stop.
Although, in all fairness, at least from my point of view, I don't think I can sense that while listening to a studio recording, because you can always assume that, hey, this guy copied and pasted elsewhere.
Exactly. But we're not fans of that. We don't do that. We only spent 5 days in the studio making this album. We wrote it over the course of 2.5 years and rehearsed it a lot, so we can just go in and play it as a band.
Yeah, and whoever has seen Night Demon live knows that you are the real deal, man.
Thank you.
And for this, I guess this is why you chose Kurt Bailu for the production, right?
Yeah, I mean, we recorded it all of ourselves. He mixed it.
Mixed it, okay.
He mixed one of the singles for us in 2020, and he just understands our sound a lot. You know, we're a very analog sounding band, and, you know, we got some really good big sounds in our studio, and he amplified it a bit, you know, to where we wanted it to be. Because, you know, we don't have a rhythm guitarist or anything, and so we really have to make sure that we're always sounding as big as we can with just 3 guys, you know.
And I honestly, I had a question related to that. Have you ever considered having a session guitarist when playing live?
Yeah, I mean, like, we wanted to, when we started the band, we did not want to be a 3-piece. I hate 3-piece bands. Like, I do not prefer them. I mean, of course, there's some that I love, but I would, no, you know, like, but we just couldn't find anybody that fit in with us, you know, and so we never did. And at this point, we'll never do it. I mean, we've developed our sound so well as 3 guys. It would just, if you added another piece to that, I mean, it's too much, man. It's too much. Like, it's been great for us creatively because it's pushed us so far to do so much more with what we have. And I really appreciate that. If we had a keyboard player and another guitar player, I don't think our songs would be as good. You know, I think we would just kind of rest. You know,
oh yeah,
but I've got to be up there. I've got to jump around every 5 minutes. I've got to play the bass right, and I've got to sing. You know, so I need the challenge. You know,
and you have one, even though you are officially 1 year older, right? Happy belated birthday!
Oh, man. Thank you. Yeah. one thing that does not stop in this 3D world is time, you know, and so we're here to make the most of it, you know.
Absolutely.
I'm glad we can finally put out a new full length here. So,
and you're getting to Japan for the first time?
Yeah, first time.
That's really cool. Have CIRITH UNGOL been there? I'm not sure. Never, right? So you are paving the way for them?
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, I have this vision in my head that like we'll go there with them one day and we'll get off the plane and we'll all have like the tour jackets, you know, like with a dragon on the back or something, like a karate team, you know, like. But I mean, look, we've got a great promoter there that's actually putting out this album out there and bringing us over for this tour. So I'm hoping that things go well. And if these guys are legit and things are cool, then the very next thing I'm going to do is say, look, come on, like, let's do CIRITH UNGOL here, you know?
Absolutely. And speaking of any update from them, anything?
Yes. So I'll give you an exclusive here that nobody knows. I've done about 70 interviews in the last 2 weeks, and I've not told this to anybody, but I'm going to tell you. We just finished a new studio album last week.
Really?
So, yes, it's done. And the title is called The Dark Parade. And, oh, yeah, I guess I shouldn't have admitted that either. And we got Michael Whalen, of course, did the art. It's the very last piece in his Elric series. So now CIRITH UNGOL has used every piece of Michael Whalen's Elric series. We are complete. And this album is fucking heavy. It's doomy as fuck. It's a very, very dark album.
Jeez, man, you gave me the chills. I have just bought a really cool edition of Elric. Because I love the books. So you just gave me the chills, man.
Yeah, this is it, man. So now we've completed the Elric series with Michael. And, you know, hey, you never know when the last CIRITH UNGOL album is going to be, you know. So this could very well be it. We don't know. But it's fucking dark, man. Like, it's it's a bit scary, to be honest. So, but I'm excited to get it out, and we're hoping to have it out by the first weekend of October this year. So there'll be more announcements about it and stuff. But I know you're a fan, and you're a fucking Malacca, and the fucking you're a fucking Midwest boy now. But I know the Greeks love CIRITH UNGOL, or CIRITH UNGOL, I should say, and I had to let you in on this news, you know.
So I'm not a Midwest boy because I have been here in the States for the last 13 years, so I'm still Malacas.
All right.
Don't worry about that.
All right.
Jarvis, thank you, and thank you again for this interview, for all the things that you said, and we are waiting for the vinyl edition of the album. We have pre-ordered that.
Great.
And we'll see you live with Satan.
We'll see you at Reggie's?
Absolutely, yes.
All right, well, let's have a beer there, okay?
Absolutely, man. Thank you very much, and have safe travels.
You're the best, man. I'll see you soon.
You do. Bye-bye.